Good morning and welcome to National Fishermen's Check-In with Bristol Bay Regional Seafood Development Association Executive Director Andy Wink. I'm Jessica Hathaway. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of National Fisherman, and I'm just bringing Andy in this morning to talk to us about what's happening in Bristol Bay and what they're working on right now. Andy, you just had a huge, more than 600 attendees in a virtual town hall meeting with the Bristol Bay Fleet and any stakeholders. Can you talk to us about, what your top topics were for that?
Yeah, we can get into that. And, a lot of people were there wondering about whether we were going to have a season, wondering, what the plan is to keep everybody safe with the COVID-19 situation. And so we spent some time covering that, as well as the Pebble Mine, and what the RSDA, BBRSDA is doing to increase the value of the fishery and develop things further and get more value out of it.
Yeah, that's great. So I understand that you've got a whole team working on COVID-19 and how it could affect the season. Can you talk to us about what you're working on and who's working on that team with you?
Sure. So we do have a team of roughly 15 people. It's kind of growing by day, and we have a lot of people on the periphery that all the different stakeholder groups, local government, processors, fishermen are using as resources. Subject matter experts and consulting doctors and things like that. So it's been a pretty collaborative effort. Can't tell you even how many meetings I've been on with local and folks from the processing sector, in the last couple weeks. There's a lot going on. I wouldn't say we've got the entire puzzle put together yet, but I think we have a lot of the pieces, at various stages in place. And so I don't think we're ready to kind of dive too much into specifics on it, but I would just say I think there's a lot of anxiety out there over, is this going to be something that's a cohesive plan? Are residents going to be safe? Are we going to have a successful season? What's that going to look like? And I think in a nutshell, I would say that everybody is working first and foremost on protecting public health and the health of the industry's workers. So we're going to, whatever happens, we're going to make sure that people are healthy, and there could be requirements along with that, in terms of keeping the industry and the local population separate. We're definitely going to have to keep people separate in this situation. Assuming this thing doesn't go away by June. And so it's a little bit of a moving target, but, even if the virus has kind of calmed down since then a little bit, there could still be the risk of reinfection. So, we really want to make sure we keep people separate. And then beyond that, we have to have a plan for responding if industry workers do get sick, if fishermen do get sick. We do not want to rely on the local medical facilities because we don't want to overtax them. We realize there's not a lot of capacity there, and the local communities need that. So we're going to be looking at ways that we can either get those folks, care outside the region, medevac, or whether we can set up something in region to add more medical capacity, for the industry and possibly as well as the community. So yeah, we want to make sure that we're not transmitting the virus from the industry to the community, and we're talking about a lot of steps to do that. I think it's possible to keep things separate. And beyond that, we don't want to tax the medical services in the local area, because both of those things would have, very tragic outcomes. So we've got a good plan being developed, and I would say within the coming days and weeks, we'll be able to share more about that.
That's great, Andy. Thank you. That sounds like a lot, but it also sounds like you've got a big picture in hand of what you're really looking to resolve before people start to travel to the region.
Yeah, I would.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to say also, as far as our team, yeah, there's a lot of people that are working on this from all the different, stakeholders. We've got a large team of fishermen on it. processors each have multiple people on it. This is really top priority for the tribes and the local, the boroughs and the local government. So it's, it's it's top priority, and it's receiving a lot of resources. And I think we're going to figure it out, and I think things are going to be just fine.
That's great. So can you tell me, you have a unique history in following Bristol Bay salmon around the world in terms of the market. Can you tell us about what you're watching for market indicators for the season?
Yeah, things have really, changed quite a lot, quite drastically. Coming into March, we knew we had a little bit more of an inventory of smaller fish. And so that has cleared, or at least it has been clearing with the rampant buying related to COVID-19. We've seen, I'm sure, as you've reported on very well, species that rely on fresh markets are really suffering, and frozen species and canned species are doing better. Most of our sockeye is canned, at this point in the year. Anything you buy from Bristol Bay would have been, canned or frozen. At this point in the year, anything would be canned or frozen that came from our fisheries. So, so we've seen a lot of demand in frozen and refreshed and canned product. And so I think in terms of what market factors I'm watching, it's really hard to say at this point in time. First we got to have a season, got to catch the fish, got to be safe about it. But I think demand is probably going to be strong, and there might, depending on where society is and what everyone's lifestyle looks like, certainly there might not be that typical fresh opportunity there. So I would expect we'll see more emphasis on canned and frozen.
Yeah. Well, luckily you have a wide range of possibilities for products coming out of Bristol Bay. Can you talk to me a little bit about what is happening with Pebble Mine right now? Because I understand the process is continuing unabated as of now.
Yeah, we haven't received any indication that the timeline has changed from, expecting to see a final EIS in June or July, and then expecting to see a record of decision sometime, before the election. So, we think with this whole, the COVID-19 situation, I mean, the Army Corps really has a big role to play in that. And we would hope that they would put all their resources into protecting public health and not having this situation get even more out of control. The entire federal government and lots of different agencies, have a role to play there. We've asked them to adjust the timeline, give them more time to work on the COVID-19 situation, and more time to consider the project itself, I suppose, as well. There's a lot of unanswered questions, unfortunately, even at this stage of the process. So we haven't received any word that anything has changed. So we're just kind of waiting to see what the final EIS looks like.
Is there anything that we can do now to make phone calls or write letters, like while people are at home? Is there anything they can do to help move the dial on that at all?
Yeah, I think that people can always contact their representatives in Congress. That's what they're there for. They represent, their constituents and their needs. And there's basically, you just Google up and find your local representative. If you're not sure how to contact them, who is my representative in Congress. But really, we just need the Army Corps to do its job, which is to thoroughly investigate and vet this project and look at what the potential risks of it are. And I think also not to just take the plan at face value, say, oh, you want to process 2 to 4 times more water than has ever been done, or any other mine in North America. Well, you've got to plant it on a paper, don't, doesn't look like all the details are worked out, but fine. That's not good enough. This is an unprecedented project with really unprecedented risk. And so I don't think we've seen enough depth and care on the analysis. And frankly, when government agencies aren't doing their job, it's one of the roles of Congress to ensure that they are meeting their mission. So they are a good conduit for the public's concern about Pebble. And if, I guess failing that, we'll see where things go in the courts, which we have a case against the EPA right now.
And where is that right now? I know you just had a hearing, right?
Yeah, we had a hearing in early March. It was just a hearing on a motion to dismiss that the opposition made. And so we're awaiting a written decision from the judge on whether the case will go forward or not. And so we'll just have to wait and see on that. It was supposed to be issued by the end of the month, but it's been an unusual month.
Yeah, exceptionally long, right, so far.
A tough year.
Yeah, this is all great info, Andy. Can you tell me just a quick hit on what fishermen who are curious about the upcoming season, where they can go for information on regular updates?
Yes, thanks for asking. We'd really like people to go to our website. As far as the COVID-19 situation, we have a dedicated page there, and there's a button on our website. You can go find that, and you see all the information about COVID-19 and how that is affecting the fishery, what our plans are as they become available. Last week, we made an advisory that asked fishermen to delay travel until at least May 1st, if at all possible. It's really important that we give everybody a little bit of a chance to try to knock this thing down, and also come up with with contingency plans for how to keep people safe. So that's all there on our COVID page, and we'll have anything that we need to post up, we will post up there. And as far as other things like market info, we also have that on our website. A lot of our stuff for fishermen is top heading. If you go to For the Fleet, several drop downs there where you can find things. So our website is a great resource, and our Facebook page also, which you can just search Facebook for BBRSDA, and we put things out there as well.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Andy. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us this morning, and I hope we'll keep getting updates from you as the season gets closer.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jess.
All right. Take care.
You too.